In the heart of the elven forest, two beautiful young women found themselves under attack by a group of repulsive men. As one of the maids had her face shoved into the ground, a knight suddenly appeared, slashing down the assailants with a single, powerful strike. This formidable knight was Ark, who had awakened beneath a tree after being reincarnated into this world. He possessed the legendary Twilight Cloak, the Wyvern Sword, and the skills from all the classes in his previous game, rather than just one. Although Ark had the power to cast spells like Wyvern SL, which could destroy all the trees before him, and Hell's Inferno, which could burn down entire forests, he quickly realized that using such immense power made him extremely hungry. On the verge of starvation, he used his gate ability to teleport to a nearby town, though he nearly collapsed from exhaustion. He managed to use his dimensional mobility spell to travel across the world, but this drained his mana and left him desperately thirsty. When he tried to drink from a river, he saw his reflection and realized he had become a hideous, skeletal figure. Fearing the townspeople's reaction, he disguised himself and sneaked through the alleys. During his secretive exploration, Ark saw the most beautiful elf girl he had ever dreamed of, but she ignored him and walked away. Determined, he searched the entire town and eventually arrived at the mercenary guild. He pleaded with the guild master for information about the elf, but the master only agreed to help if Ark completed various quests and killed monsters for money. Misunderstanding Ark's noble intentions, the guild master pitied him, believing he was on a quest to save a sick child. After completing several arduous quests and defeating numerous boars, Ark encountered bandits assaulting soldiers and ripping the clothes off their captives. Hearing the princess's desperate screams, Ark intervened, killing 3 bandits with a swift slash. As the remaining bandits fled, he unleashed his ultimate ability, Wyvern Slash, incinerating them all. The rescued princess and her maid thanked Ark and accompanied him in search of medicinal herbs. During their journey, Ark discovered an injured 9-tailed fox. Despite the fox's initial aggression, he used his monk magic to heal it. Grateful, the fox began to follow him, and he named it Pawn. They eventually reached the white wisteria tree, but a massive basilisk emerged from the shadows, ready to attack. Ark teleported Marker, one of the girls, to safety and narrowly blocked the basilisk's poison fog. The battle was fierce, and Ark, growing tired, realized the basilisk was preparing to use its ultimate petrification spell. He activated his divine shield, nullifying the attack, and with one powerful blow, defeated the basilisk. As he approached the monster, it disintegrated, revealing a mysterious ring. Suddenly, a massive boar appeared. Ark killed it, intending to gift it to the villagers. In the village, Marker's mother, Sia, was overjoyed to see her daughter safe and sound. She embraced Ark and thanked him profusely. That evening, after a hearty meal, Sia and her daughters thanked Ark by calling him their new father and giving him a gift. A few weeks later, Ark was still searching for the elf who had captivated him. He entered a cave where he heard bandits had kidnapped elves but found only a pile of gold. Disappointed, he left with the treasure, heading back to town for a meal. Suddenly, the elf girl reappeared, ready to attack. Ark dodged her strikes, and as her cloak fell away, he recognized her as the elf who had taken his breath away. He tried to explain, but she accused him of being a bandit. Just then, Pawn appeared, stopping the elf in her tracks. Realizing Ark had healed the fox, she apologized for her mistake and explained she was on a mission to rescue the kidnapped elves. Ark told her he had already defeated the bandits. Although she prepared to leave, Ark tried to convince her to work with him, but she rejected his offer and ran away. Despite this setback, Ark's resolve remained unbroken. He knew no true gamer could resist the chance to help a beautiful elf. Strengthening his determination, he spent his nights planning how to find her again. The next morning, he set off towards the elven forest, hopeful for another chance to meet the love of his life. The 9 Tails warned Ark that enemies were nearby. Suddenly, an elf ran past, only to be captured by a bandit who then paraded her in front of his leader. The leader cruelly stabbed her in the leg, demanding that she beg for mercy. Even as she begged, he continued his brutal assault. Ark, witnessing this from a hidden vantage point, saw that other elves were trapped in a cell, their lives in peril. Just as Ark was about to intervene, a fierce woman with impressive strength, later known as Ariane, charged in, destroying the men in her path. The bandits swarmed her, but she swiftly slashed through them, fearlessly advancing and striking down every bandit in her way. The bandit leader tried to halt her, threatening to kill the elves if she persisted. He then began to inspect her as if she were mere merchandise. At that critical moment, Ark flashed into action, launching the leader into a tree and saving the elves. Ariane, impressed by his bravery and skill, watched as Ark destroyed the lock on the cell with his bare hands, freeing the captives. One of the children had a cursed collar that drained her life force. She believed it was indestructible, but Ark used his magical abilities to break the curse and heal her wounds. Seeing Ark's extraordinary abilities, Ariane realized he was no ordinary knight. She began to fall for her savior, although the show maintained its wholesome and family-friendly tone. Ark played with the children to help ease their trauma, while Ariane introduced herself and they shared a moment of peace. Their tranquility was interrupted when a bird arrived with a warning: the elf headquarters were under attack. Ariane, needing help, asked Ark to assist her, despite never having trusted a human before. Ark agreed, and they teleported to the Leo River using Ark's forbidden long-distance teleportation skill, impressing Ariane with his prowess. Upon arriving, they snuck into an alley and Ariane mentioned they were about to meet her lifelong friend. Ark hoped to meet another beautiful elf, but was disappointed when he encountered a gruff, burly figure instead. Ariane scouted the building, ensuring it was safe to enter. Inside, they found mercenaries who had been killed in their sleep, realizing a murderer was among them. Ark teleported across the hallway and stumbled upon a room filled with dead bodies. A ninja nearly killed him but stopped upon seeing the 9 tails with him, recognizing Ark as a good man. She apologized and gave him a map of the underground area, revealing that 2 elves were trapped in the mansion. Ariane and Ark split up, using the map to navigate. A group of bandits broke into the room, but Ariane incinerated them with a single strike. They found the captive elves and Ark freed them by bending the iron bars of their cell. Discovering cursed seals on their necks, Ark used his uncursed magic to free them, a feat only archdukes could perform. Dana, an elf with them, realized Ark's unique abilities. As they planned their next move, Ark held on to Ariane and teleported towards the final 2 elves. Meanwhile, the ninja girl expressed a desire to meet him again. Inside the Lord's manor, 2 elves were tied to a bed, about to suffer a horrible fate. Ark and Ariane burst in, defeating the guards and rescuing the elves. Interrogating the slave dealer, Ark discovered a hidden room. Ariane dealt with the Lord, giving him a taste of his own medicine. More soldiers arrived, but Ariane unleashed her ultimate spell, burning them all alive. Ark began looting the Lord's gold, claiming he intended to destroy the slave trade business with it. Ariane, believing his noble lie, allowed him to keep the gold. Now wealthy, Ark was invited to Ariane's elf village to spend the night. However, he feared revealing his true skeletal form to her father. Despite his fears, Ariane swore she would accept him as he was. Encouraged, Ark revealed his curse to her. Seeing his true form, Ariane accepted him and vowed to find a way to break his curse. As they neared the village, Ark attempted a teleportation but fell into a large hole. Despite the mishap, they finally found clean water to fill their empty bottles, preparing for the challenges ahead. After managing to catch a fish from the water, Ark and Ariane spent the night cooking their meal. Ariane's stomach growled loudly, and Ark realized one fish wouldn't be enough to satisfy her hunger. He decided to catch a boar to feed her properly. While Ark was away, Ariane saw Pawn sleeping and resisted the urge to pet him, wanting the creature to rest peacefully. Despite her efforts, Pawn woke up, and when Ark returned with the boar, he found Ariane rubbing Pawn against her chest. Ark tried to ignore the awkward scene, though he secretly wished he could be the one feeling the warmth of her embrace. The next morning, they journeyed through the forest and finally arrived at the gates of the elven village. As Ariane announced her presence, the gate opened, and they were welcomed inside. In the village, the elder, Dylan, introduced himself and revealed that Ariane was his daughter. Her mother, Glennis, lied about Ariane's age to make Ark interested in her, hoping to seduce him. However, Ark wasn't interested in older women and silently rejected her advances. Dylan questioned why they had attacked Lord Triton's mansion, fearing it might start a war. Ark explained their actions, convincing Dylan they were not guilty. Dylan then said he needed to explain the situation to the other elders and planned to leave the next morning. When Ark woke up the following day, Glennis informed him that Dylan and Ariane had already left. As they walked through the city, Glennis asked Ark to spar with her in the forest. In the evening, Glennis tested Ark's skills with his sword. She attacked swiftly, sweeping him off his feet and mocking his slow reactions. Despite his efforts, she continuously bested him in combat. By sunset, Ark was exhausted, his pride bruised. Glennis delivered a flurry of strikes, leaving him on the ground, feeling defeated. That night, Ark soaked in a bath, hoping Ariane would join him, but she didn't. Instead, she wondered if Ark had noticed her attractiveness. Meanwhile, Dylan informed Ark that the elders had decided to hire him to investigate the slave contracts and free the captured elves. Although they had no money to pay him, Dylan offered directions to the sacred spring, which was rumored to have healing qualities that might break Ark's skeleton curse. Dylan explained that the sacred spring was near the Lord Crown, a dragon tree housing the Dragon Lord. Ariane assured Ark they could gain permission to enter and succeed in their mission. Ark hoped this journey would finally allow him to reveal his true feelings to Ariane. That night, Ark pondered whether his skeleton form was truly a curse and attempted to remove it with his uncursed spell. However, the spell failed, and his flesh disintegrated again. The next morning, they continued their journey through the forest, aiming to find the remaining elves mentioned in the slave contracts. At an inn, the innkeeper warned them about haunted wolves in the forest, but Ariane insisted on continuing their path. The next day, as they traveled, Ariane mentioned collecting wolf tails for her sister, thinking they would make a beautiful veil. Suddenly, wolves appeared from the bushes. Ark and Ariane fought them off, realizing the wolves could create illusions. Ark targeted the pack leader, a wolf with a mystical ring around its ankle. He teleported and attacked, destroying the ring and freeing the wolf from its curse. Ariane gathered the wolf fur while Ark wondered who had created the mystical ring. Meanwhile, a princess traveled through the forest, fearing her brother's involvement in the elf slave trade. Her carriage was attacked, and Pawn sensed the danger, leading Ark to the scene. Ark defeated the attackers and saved the princess and her attendant with his regeneration spell. The princess believed they were saved by divine intervention. As Ark rejoined Ariane, they continued their journey and eventually arrived in a city. There, they encountered a ninja girl who challenged some bullies and revealed she was the same ninja Ark had met earlier. Proud of their success in rescuing the elves, she suggested they speak in private. As Ari began wondering who she was, Ark decided to reveal that she had given him the slave contracts. The girl introduced herself as Chomi, one of the Jinin clan's 6 ninjas. She suggested they find a quiet place to talk, so they headed to an inn. Inside, Chomi questioned Ark about calling her a ninja, as no outsider of her clan had ever heard the term. Ark mentioned he had met a ninja once before, prompting Chomi to speculate that he might be from the same realm as their great founder. Ark wondered if someone else had already reincarnated into this world before him. Ari questioned why Chomi wanted to speak privately, and Chomi asked for their help in rescuing her clansmen, offering to reveal the whereabouts of the remaining elves in exchange. Ark informed her that he was already hired to find the elves, but he looked to Ari to see if she would agree to help. Ari decided to accept. As they headed to the slave market, Ark asked Chomi about the great founder. She explained that he was a human who had trained her clansmen, who were taken as slaves in the empire. Through their training, they became the Jinin clan. Ark realized the founder must have been extraordinary and wondered if he could ever become a legend himself. At the slave market, Chomi revealed that reinforcements would arrive once they attacked. To create a diversion, she suggested attacking the front gates but worried about escaping before reinforcements showed up. Ark assured her they would fight to the end and revealed his ability to teleport, exciting Chomi, who thought he might be a space-time jutsu master. She believed they could save all her clansmen with his teleportation magic. As night fell, Chomi rejoined her comrades, preparing for the attack. Ark and Ari made their preparations, including a meal of dragonfly meat, which Ark found delicious. Ark donned an ugly mask, much to Ari's amusement and Ponto's distress. Chomi returned with her companion Gon, who approached Ark aggressively. The two locked hands and fought briefly before embracing like brothers, confusing the onlookers. The city bell rang, signaling the start of their invasion. Chomi instructed Ark and Gon to attack the front gate. As they approached, the knights drew their weapons. Gon summoned earth horns and charged, blowing the gate open. Ark and Gon fought the soldiers, with Ark using rock fangs and Gon turning his body into steel. The soldiers' swords broke upon striking Gon, and Ark's attacks annihilated the enemies. Inside, Chomi and Ari climbed over the wall and ran towards the building, unlocking the door and freeing the slaves. They fought off guards with Chomi's liquid wolf ninjutsu and Ari's fire attacks. In the underground cells, they freed more slaves, while Ark and Gon handled the reinforcements outside. Gon turned his body into steel again as more reinforcements arrived. Ark teleported the slaves to safety and joined Gon in defeating the remaining soldiers. With the battle over, Chomi and Ari reappeared, confirming the rescue of the slaves but noting an extra building to search. They rushed towards the building, fighting off guards. Chomi used her liquid wolf technique, and Ari slashed through the enemies with her flaming sword. In another underground cell, Chomi freed the slaves, though some were already dead. Outside, Gon defended against reinforcements, and Ark teleported the remaining slaves out. The reinforcements couldn't kill Gon, and Ark's support made them retreat in fear. With the battle won, Chomi vowed to become stronger to protect the survivors. A few hours later, after the slaves had returned home, Chomi and Gon rejoined Ark and Ari. Gon and Ark engaged in another show of strength before embracing again. Ari called them morons. The next day, as they sailed through the capital, Chomi thanked them for their help and revealed her promised information. Meanwhile, Princess Uriana arrived in another city and met her sister. Her sister revealed that their brother had confessed to a crime before his death, but Uriana suspected their other brother, Sect, was responsible, aiming to become the heir to the throne. Uriana decided to keep her survival a secret, planning to form an alliance with the elf clan. In the forest, Ark and Ari continued their travels. Ark noticed Ari's worry upon hearing about the Holy Arlan Empire, where the captured elves were held. He wondered how dangerous the city would be but believed they would succeed. A few days later, they arrived at a wasteland, spotting wyverns patrolling the skies. Ark prepared a lightning spell, electrifying the beasts, and accidentally shocked Ari and Ponto as well. A bystander watched Ark from atop a mountain, questioning his sanity. That evening, they dined at an inn, with Ari's ears still ringing from the shock. She revealed a map and suggested a plan to infiltrate the empire. Ark sensed Ari was still worried and asked what was troubling her. She revealed that holding slaves was legal in the empire and that she could be captured even in a border town, advising him to stay alert. Suddenly, a man named Carrie appeared, revealing he had seen them in the wasteland. Ari covered her face and warned him about the dangers of being an elf in a human town, stressing that he could easily be taken as a slave and should avoid risks. The proprietress interrupted, asking if Carrie wanted his usual drink, and a group invited him to their table, indicating he was well known. Carrie explained that he had been living in the town for a decade, urging Ari to ease up, as he believed humans and elves could coexist peacefully. Ari, angry, argued that humans had sold her clan as slaves, and coexistence would only bring chaos. Ark asked Carrie what he wanted. Carrie, who studied monsters, had seen Ark's lightning magic and thought he was perfect for capturing a special monster. Although Ari found Carrie unattractive and initially refused, Carrie offered a map of the Holy Revlon Empire in exchange for their help. Seeing the map as the answer to their prayers, Ari accepted. That night, as Ark paid for a room, the proprietor gave him a barrel of PG grape juice, hinting at manly duties. Ari, pondering coexistence between elves and humans, tried the juice and found it delicious. She playfully jumped on Ark, asking for a taste of his bone, causing him to shiver. The night's events echoed through the walls, heard even by the proprietress. The following day, outside town, Carrie introduced his creepy friend, and they set off. Ark noticed Ari had a hangover, worsened by the smell from the cart, which Carrie revealed contained goblin carcasses to lure out a sandworm. Carrie's friend offered a tea to cure Ari's hangover, but his creepy smile made her refuse. Carrie vouched for his friend, persuading her to drink, although she found his face unsettling. Ark asked about capturing the monster. Carrie explained it was weak to fire and could be lured by wyverns. Ari noticed the friend was missing just as a massive sandworm emerged from the ground. Ari, seeing the friend knocked off the cart, hurried to save him. She blasted the worm with fire, but it remained unscathed and tried to devour her. Ark saved her and pulled the worm out, slamming it to weaken it and destroy a mystical ring. After returning to town, Carrie gave them their prize and an extra book on monsters. Ari asked why Carrie lived with humans. Carrie believed that humans were different from what he initially thought and envisioned a future of coexistence, seeing himself as part of that foundation. As they left, Ari asked Ark if humans and elves could truly coexist. Ark replied that they would figure it out in time. A few days later, they arrived at another border town, discovering the captured elves were held there. To avoid drawing attention, they decided to search the town separately. By evening, Ark learned that loud screams were heard from a fortress nightly, and people were disappearing. He suspected monsters were involved and went to find Ari. Hearing a scream from an alley, Ark saw a girl being shoved into barrels by 3 men. He intervened, telling one man to scram before knocking the others into a wall with a head flick. The girl thanked him, but Ari arrived, her territorial instincts kicking in. She threatened the girl, who ran away. That night in the fortress, the men reported to their master, who fed them to a beast for their failure. Ark and Ari arrived outside the fortress, learning from an informant that elves were brought there 4 months ago. Ark feared they might be dead or sold, but Ari insisted on seeing for herself. Sneaking inside, they found it empty. Ari revealed a secret entrance, and they descended, encountering guards. Ponto created a distraction, allowing Ari and Ark to knock the guards out. Inside an underground prison, they found bones in the cells. Further in, they discovered a cave where Fumba, a monster sorcerer, appeared. Fumba hypnotized Ari, making her attack Ark. Ark realized she was under a spell and kept casting an uncursed spell, taking her strikes until he tripped on a rock. He saw an imp in her hood, directing Ponto to attack it. Once the imp was gone, Ari passed out, and Ark burned it. Fumba introduced himself, claiming to command countless monsters. Ark noticed Fumba's tattoo resembled the mystical rings controlling beasts. As a giant tiger appeared, Ark laid Ari aside and asked if any elves remained. Fumba, laughing maniacally, said he had fed them to his monsters. Enraged, Ark instantly sliced the tiger's head, realizing Fumba was the most disgusting villain he had ever encountered. Fumba thought he still had the advantage and began lashing his whip, summoning 100 monsters at once. Despite this, Ark was determined to teach him a lesson and began slaying the monsters. Fumba called upon a goblin, but Ark bashed it with his shield, sending it into the wall. A lizard beast restrained Ark, but he sliced it with a single strike. Fumba then revealed Ari was in danger, but Shumi cast a spell, trapping the goblin in a water prison and killing it. Unwilling to surrender, Fumba continued lashing his whip to summon more monsters, but none appeared. Shumi revealed that her comrades had already killed the rest. Ark wondered how she had trailed him, and Shumi explained she had revealed the fortress's location to Ari and promised support. Ark realized Ari must have been jealous after seeing him with the girl he rescued, causing her to hide it from him. Just then, the cave began crumbling, and Fumba escaped, saying his greatest monster was about to emerge. Ark teleported outside with the unconscious Ari, and a monstrous hydra emerged from the ground. Seeing the rings attached to its body, Shumi suggested they retreat and plan, but the hydra noticed them and unleashed an energy blast. Fumba believed they were fried. He recalled demanding respect from his clan, only to be called weak and worthless. Seeking power, he had begged the Empire King for help, but was also rejected. The hydra headed for the city, and Ark's teleportation landed them on a mountain. Shumi, amazed by Ark's survival, called him the most overpowered human she had ever seen. Ark noticed Ari was missing and spotted her on a rock, oozing a dark aura. She revealed she had heard everything while hypnotized and suggested they find Fumba to confront him. She thought they could catch him off guard, but Ark chose to stop the monster instead. As the hydra neared the city, the alarm was sounded to evacuate. Ark engaged the hydra, hitting it with a wind slash that didn't scratch it. As the hydra tried to devour him, Ark teleported away, returning with a powerful punch that killed one of the hydra's heads. Fumba wondered how Ark's body could withstand the hydra's breath. The hydra unleashed another energy blast, but Ark's shield repelled it. Preparing for another blast, Ark summoned a magic circle and sliced the hydra's heads, which began regenerating. Ark teleported away, summoning the infernal demon to stop the hydra. Meanwhile, Ari and Shumi ran through the forest, following Ponto's scent to Fumba. As Fumba commanded the hydra, Ari nearly fried his face, calling him a loser and threatening him. Fumba, recalling past rejections, grew angry and lashed his whip to summon monsters. Ari rushed at him, slaying his imps and telling him his tricks wouldn't work twice. Desperate, Fumba tried to command the hydra, but Shumi slashed him, destroying the markings controlling the beasts. Ari summoned flames from her sword, burning Fumba's whip. Realizing he was doomed, Fumba begged for his life, but Ari burned him to ashes. The demon ripped 2 hydra heads off, sealed another's mouth, and knocked back another with a punch. As the hydra tried to escape, Ark caught its tail, swung it into the sky, and the demon incinerated it. As the sun rose, Ark rejoined the girls and explained he summoned the demon from another dimension. Shumi thought it was only a matter of time before Ark was worshipped for his power. A whispering fowl delivered a message to Ari. Meanwhile, in the capital, Yuriana met with an elf chief, offering to search for the missing elves in exchange for support for her ascent to the throne. The elf chief agreed, hoping for peaceful coexistence. They shook hands to seal the agreement. Back with Ark and the girls, Ari expressed disappointment at being commanded to withdraw from her search, wondering if it was the start of coexistence with humans. Ark agreed, telling her to accept the changing world. A few days later, while walking through the forest, Ark mentioned wanting a quiet life, but Ari told him to learn to keep a quiet mouth first. Ark revealed his face, causing Shumi to hide, and Ari realized she had never seen his true form before. They decided to head for the Lord Crown, hoping to find a spring to break Ark's skeleton curse. Ark, despite not knowing how he came into this world, was glad to spend it with his new friends and the girl he loved.